It seemed like it was just a few days ago on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Todd Pinkney, one of our P1s who came to our Seattle Kraken expansion draft watch party the other night, asks if Monty the Squirrel's going to use the Lawnmower 4.0 to trim his nuts. I was thinking more, how about that? But
How about that?
it's not an unreasonable question.
No, it is not.
Monty the Squirrel. Can we get that done up by the end of the show? And I'm in favor of your mom sewing the costume this time.
You are?
Yes.
Are you watching?
Paula?
She's probably watching.
What's going on back here? They're all laughing back there. Oh, I'd wonder. Oh.
Because then you paused. And I was like, this in favor of her? What?
I know. I heard them bust out laughing. I'm like, what are you?
And then you sewing the costume, and it's like, just disarmed me. I'm like, okay, we're good. She can sew the costume.
I'm in favor of your mom.
What? Say it. Say it.
Stay tuned, sit back, enjoy. Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hashtag dad advice from Jim Pedersen, my dad, who said, cheer as loud as you want for your own team. Don't ever boo the other team. Don't ever boo the other team. And to boo your own team? Unthinkable. In the world of James William Pedersen. So, A, I would never do it. B, with the cost of those things? Are you kidding me?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, thank you very much, Rick Regan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to your favorite daytime sports talk show coming to you live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and WQEE. Shout out Rhino Radio. We got a little bit of everything for you today. We'll prove again why we're the golden corral of sports talk. A little bit of everything for everybody, and it's all delicious. Coming up on the program today in moments, Darren Moose DuPont. He is at the Canada Winter Games. We've got NHL reporter Julie Stewart-Bings. What Clark says she's doing some work for the Rangers now. I ran into her down here at the All-Star Game. She was doing events there. ESPN, Fox Sports alum. Yeah, you know her. JSB will be with us. Toronto product, by the way, from SiriusXM NHL Radio, Scott Laughlin and Serena Taylor wasn't done dropping bombs yesterday. She's going to come on here an hour or two and have more fun as we talk a lot of hockey. Darren Moose DuPont is with us. And Moose, to get to the obligatory preamble out of the way, I want to ask you how you're doing because I know you're doing always great. But you said out there in PEI at the Canada Winter Games, it's hockey, hockey, hockey. That's the buzz. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's awesome out here. Well, first, I mean, Canada Games, the hockey is the signature event. I mean, the gold medal game in the boys capped off week one. And then just that's all they want to talk about. You know, when we're mingling around and they know that I'm on this program, it's what's going on with the NHL trade. Who's going to make the next big trade? Are they finally done yet? So when's the trade deadline? So it's dominating all the headlines, which is kind of cool.
Well, I know, and we got to tell people to just back up the truck for a second. I've had to tell myself that, but tomorrow, when it is the NHL trade deadline day, we're going to have some special goodies for you on tomorrow's show, plus a Football Friday with some great guests. But today, it's all about what's the latest, and I'll say this. Yeah, can you hit the quick six show horn, please?
LFG.
To some of the comments here, 902-518-3033 is the number to join us. The discussion as ours rolls along today. If you happen to be watching on the YouTube streams, you can write in there. Mark Zosel watching in Melfort, where we're very big in Saskatchewan, the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Mark Zosel says tomorrow's trade deadline shows are going to be quiet. They will, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, some leftovers from Wednesday night. These aren't all the games, but these are some of them. Connor McDavid had 2 goals and a helper, giving him his 5th consecutive multi-goal game. And the Edmonton Oilers thumped the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-2. It's the first player to do it since Alex McGillney in 1993. Dawson Mercer had a goal and 3 helpers. Thomas Tatar had a goal and 2 assists, and the New Jersey Devils upset Colorado 7-5. Miro Heiskanen ended a 19-game goal drought by scoring the winning goal early in the third, and the Dallas Stars rallied from a 2-goal first-period deficit to beat the Arizona Coyotes 4-2, and that's where I'm going to leave it for last night's games. I watched a lot of the Oilers and Leafs, Darren, and I don't know where you and Clark stand on that game, but I believe that the Oilers skated circles around them. What did it get out to? 3-0, I think, in the first period?
Bingo!
The Oilers barely broke a sweat. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with the Leafs last night. And again, you're out in PEI, so it was a very late start for you, but I'm sure you've done some investigating. What happened at Rogers Place last night?
Oilers were the better team last night. As simple as that.
By far.
And they're a very good hockey team. Now the Leafs have made some moves, and you need some time to gel with a little bit of what's going on. But this has always been a big type of rivalry now, East versus West. Oilers versus Leafs, Matthews versus McDavid, who's better, all of that. The fan bases hate each other now. It's become a really good rivalry in the NHL. Far much more, like when the Leafs go into Calgary, it's not going to be nearly the same atmosphere. I mean, you'll have a lot of Leaf fans, but I've been in those games in Edmonton. I mean, it's Oilers versus Leafs. It's 50-50 fans. It is like a playoff series. And typically, these are the games you get. I've been to games where the Leafs skate circles around the Oilers, and the Oilers skate circles around the Leafs, but they were the better team last night, that's for sure.
Okay, well, you make a really good point on all of that. I was talking with some football guys down here. This is what sets us apart from the other shows. And one of them might be watching right now. His name's Matt. And I was saying, this GM, this is pro football, but it relates to hockey. I said, this GM was whining about that the fans want them to win every game. And I'm like, this is pro football. Of course you should win every game. And it was actually another, I don't mind saying, it was George Cortez. You know George. In a separate conversation, he's like, well, Rod, what he means there is, yeah, the fans want to win every game, but they're not going to win every game. And I'm like, okay, when you put it like that, George, that's why he's such a great coach. He can dumb it down for guys like me. So the Leafs went in there, they got spanked. They got to use the Craig McTavish term, they had their pants pulled down and got a spanking. But I guess it's just one game. And if the Leafs and Oilers met in the playoffs, which it would take the Stanley Cup for that to do it, if the Oilers schooled them then, I know you're not going to be saying, well, they were just the better team. You'd be a hell of a lot more furious than you are right now. So I get it. I get it. And thank you, George Cortez, for that. I hope one day, I think of this often, that I'm the guy offering the sage advice to young dummies like me and my forefathers. And I think that's coming. Speaking of, Perry Shockey is watching in Lethbridge on Game Plus television. Perry S. Hockey. And he writes that and he says, Hot Rod, when are you back in Cowtown? And is your Serena going to be on the show? Serena Taylor. Yes, I will be with the program starting March 13th, Monday at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. No, Serena will not be on the show from there. I don't think. We're kind of going month by month here, but as it stands now, no. But Jock, she'll be with us an hour or two. So, yeah. So, where's my bell? This trade thing, again. I said long ago that when I lay my head down on the pillow at night, my mind starts to get worried about, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? And then I've realized you'll be fine. There'll be so much go down by showtime on Thursday or the next day. There'll be lots to talk about. So, Darren, Tyler Bertuzzi, this is the latest. He's going to the NHL best Boston Bruins, the latest Stanley Cup contender to strike a deal in the loaded Eastern Conference. The Bruins acquired Bertuzzi from the Detroit Red Wings today for a top 10 projected first-round pick in 2024 and a fourth-rounder in 2025. Detroit's retaining half of Bertuzzi's salary for the rest of the season. That's just the latest. The Bruins are already on pace for the best regular season in hockey history. They've also acquired defenseman Dmitry Orlov and forward Garnet Hathaway from Washington. And following nearly a dozen trades getting done Tuesday, more than a handful more with playoff implications were completed Wednesday. I don't know where you'll want to start. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I would say for Boston, don't get swept up in this. Everybody is making moves to try and compete with you. You've set the standard. So I don't think you need to worry about tinkering too much. Now, bringing in Bertuzzi makes your team better. So great. But I wouldn't be making a whole lot of moves if I was the Boston Bruins. But yeah, it's just been a lot. It's been head spinning. It's been a lot of moves at the deadline, and we need some time here to see how the dust is going to settle.
You make a very good point about the Bruins. You get in that race, any race, and it's like, they're gaining. I'm with you. But I thought the Leafs made too many changes. But I'll tell you what, that McCabe looked really good on their blue line last night. He looks like he'd played there all year. Yeah, but they still got spanked. To be honest, the Leafs were all over them in the early going. I would say for the first 5-10 minutes. And then the Oilers just like, no, not in our house. And it looked like a really fun atmosphere there in Rogers Arena. And Louis DeBrusk mentioned that on the broadcast. It just looked like a hell of a lot of fun. And it was for the Oilers fans who went home with a very lopsided victory. Now, just sprinkling in comments from our viewers. Good morning, RP peeps, from Kevin the Medium. He says we missed JT Miller in our poll. Our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, who's the best trade piece left available? And the options are, if I may, you want to say them in my ear, Clark? Colton Parayko, Jonathan Quick, Brock Besser, and John Klingberg. There are the four. Anaheim's, John Klingberg, Colton Parayko, Jonathan Quick, and Brock Besser. So we got one Canuck in there, Kevin. But listen, I get it. Look at Nashville. And tonight I'll be around the Nashville guys. I might see Trotzy here at the game. And I want to, they're doing it right. They're not pussyfooting around. As my mom would say, got rid of Tanner Jeannot, got rid of Granlund. They're getting rid of everybody. There's a wholesale there. And Vancouver, what if you get stuck with Besser and you don't move him? San Jose saying they're not going to move Erik Karlsson now. Are you in or are you out? You can't just be a little bit pregnant. Nashville knows what they're doing. They never won a Stanley Cup yet under David Poile, but maybe Trotzy will bring one there. Trevor in Winnipeg says the Jets went half in. Well, again, it's not Friday yet, so we'll kick this all around. Moose, anything else on the trades before we move on?
No, but there's some pieces left. We'll see what happens. It took Jacob Chychrun a long time before Arizona decided to do something there, 18 months or something like that. So be patient, but there's still, I think, a few more moves that are going to come in between now and the deadline.
My guy, Jeff Pearson from the Days Inn. By the way, it's 11:11 your time. No, not in PEI. Central. So Jeff from the Days Inn texted me this morning, and he goes, okay, your Panthers and my Washington Capitals each have 66 points, and he's made me a bet for who finishes higher. And I said, oh, you're on. What are we betting? Oh, a Tower Pizza. Jeff's special Tower Pizza at the Tower, because Tower Pizza is king. So we got a bet going. And tonight, as I said to you when we chatted earlier, I'm so happy to be able to go and watch NHL hockey live tonight. The Nashville Predators, or what's left of them, will be here in Florida to take on Paul Maurice's Panthers. Can't wait. Going to move on. Well, believe me, we're going to get to enough hockey later with Julie Stewart-Binks, Serena Taylor, Scott Laughlin. In Sarasota, Florida on Wednesday, Phil Clark hit a solo homer to drive in the game-winning run as the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Baltimore Orioles 2-1. In spring training, Rob Brantley put the Jays ahead with an RBI double in the fourth before Clark doubled the lead with a drive to center field in the eighth. Blue Jays starter Yusei Kikuchi pitched two no-hit innings, striking out 2 and walking 1. Zach Thompson followed and picked up the win with 3 strikeouts over 2 scoreless innings while surrendering no hits or walks. Blue Jays host the Pittsburgh Pirates Thursday. Feels like something you get very excited about, but we're not going to today on March 2nd. We got 2 football notes I want to get to in the time. We got a lot of time to do it here. You are far closer to Brett Boyko than me. I know him. Played in the NFL with the Eagles, ran a few teams, played in, I believe, Alliance of American Football with the San Diego Fleet, which, by the way, I love that team name. I love that team name, the San Diego Fleet. Anyways, Brett Boyko had a cup of coffee and a donut with his home province, Saskatchewan Roughriders. Did you see today, because I had a text, I'm assuming this has been reported, Brett Boyko is signed with Orlando of the XFL. Guys spent a lot of time with the CFL's BC Lions, NFL, as I just mentioned, and now he's going to Orlando of the XFL. What are your thoughts on that? Because you know him personally far better than I do.
I think it's a great move. You know, Brett's a guy who's had to deal with some injury issues, and teams are a little bit nervous to take a chance on him. He's a guy with NFL talent to be a really great lineman in the Canadian Football League. But again, injuries have been an issue, getting on the field and getting another chance and getting back to health. He's also got a young family, things like that. So I think, you know what? Here's a kid who wants to play, going to go down. And if he gets on the field and plays well, he's a name people are familiar with. So if he goes out there and they say, oh, he checks out, looks like he's healthy, looks like it's this. I've talked to the strength coach. Everything seems to be all systems go, and it removes the risk. I think there'll be teams knocking at his door before long.
Well, good for him. I'm with you. He's made that NFL money. And, hey, ride it till the wheels fall off. You keep playing, Brett. Last I heard, he was living in Las Vegas, but obviously was staying in shape. And maybe for my favorite XFL team, the Orlando Guardians, we're 0-2. He can be the missing link on that offensive line. By the way, from the cheap seats from our viewers, BW in Edmonton says, I thought so with Rod wearing the Nashville colors today. Good morning, RP squad. Yeah, I'm wearing whatever this is, a mix of orange and yellow and blue, but that's just by chance. Here's a little thing. We regularly get messages from people all across North America that I've walked into a restaurant or I've walked into a bar and there's Rod and Moose on the television. They've got it on the Game Plus TV. I want to wear a shirt that pops out more often than not, if I can. So it just happens to be Nashville colors. Wasn't by design. Allie in Texarkana says, good morning, Rod Squad. Really wish Dallas could get Klinger back in Dallas. They can have Suter. Klinger. Immediately, my mind flashed to MASH. Jamie Farr, the character who ran around in women's clothing all the time. Different Klinger. Derek Richards writes in and says, does anyone else think the Jets are only a Nino away from winning the Cup? They got a lot more to figure out than Nino Niederreiter. But the last 2 days, we've talked about the Winnipeg Jets. You're lucky, Winnipeg. You're welcome, Winnipeg. Had Sean Reynolds on in Hustler. It ain't Jets TV today. Randy from Winnipeg says, Ekholm looked good for the Oilers last night. Everybody looked good for the Oilers last night. They really did. Here's one, Moose. Oh, we're out of time on this segment. When we come back, I want to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs defensive tackle Jalen Carter, who had to leave the NFL Combine to face charges in his home of Athens, Georgia. Listen up, Rhino Radio. We're coming to your town next. There's some controversy around imports at the Briar. Okay? I don't know if you saw that, as it gets ready to roll in London, Ontario this week. The Argos, well, they're in the news. We're going to talk a little Dub Hub. We got a lot to get to, so sit tight, everybody. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. We're halfway through the Quick Six show topics here in the warm-up of today's RP show. If we can bring Darren Moose Dupont back in. He is at the Canada Winter Games in beautiful Prince Edward Island. Just sprinkling in a couple of viewer comments. Jeff Caldwell in Redmond, Oregon is watching on Game Plus TV. He says, I'm definitely considering traveling from Oregon to Smashville for the draft. I swear, man, we should be like, we're like a tour company here. I hope you weren't just whistling Dixie or blowing smoke. There are people that want to join us at the NHL draft 2023 here with Connor Bedard going #1 overall to whomever it's going to be. What are the chances of this actually happening? Like, you know, us hosting a sports trip there.
Decent, like decent, like the work's being done to put it together. So it now comes down to availabilities and things like that. Good news is we got plenty of lead time. So the next step will probably be gathering. We've got the info next week. We'll be taking a little bit more of your temperature on this. So stay tuned. We'll probably talk about it again on Monday.
Okay, you're on top of it. That's all I wanted to know. From Chris Lee writes in, says, Ho, from Sweden. Love your show. Do we need a Swedish flag? This is kind of like a Swedish flag, what I'm wearing. Is ho a Swedish word? Because it is around here, but it doesn't mean hello.
Ba-dum, boom.
Ba-doom, boom. Where's John Ohm, by the way? WQEE, Rock, Ryan O'Radio, The RP Show, King Rod, Top Gun, and Serena again. She'll be with us in hour 2. So be ready for that. So backing up the bus here, I'm seeing a lot of this talk on social media about this. Georgia Bulldogs defensive tackle Jalen Carter turned himself into Athens police last night and was released 16 minutes later after posting a combined bond of $4,000 on charges of reckless driving and racing in relation to a fatal crash that killed a teammate and a team staffer. Why I'm reading this? Hang on. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this. According to Athens Clarke County Jail records, which of course is a suburb of Atlanta, Carter turned himself in near midnight last night. He was released 16 minutes later, posting a bond of $2,500 on the racing charge, $1,500 on the reckless driving. Carter, projected as one of the top players in next month's NFL draft, he could go number 1 overall, Darren, left the combine in Indianapolis yesterday after being informed that he'd been charged. The arrest warrant alleges Carter was racing his 2021 Jeep Trackhawk against the 2021 Ford Expedition driven by the recruiting staffer, 24-year-old Chandler LaCroix, which led to the wreck. LaCroix was killed in the crash. The player, Jalen Carter, said on his Twitter account Wednesday he expects to be fully exonerated. The crash happened just hours after the Bulldogs celebrated their second straight national championship with a parade and ceremony. And the cops said in the arrest warrant, they were driving in a manner consistent with racing at 2:30 a.m. So my question to you and to the viewers is, are you drafting him?
A great question. A great question. And I don't know. That's the short answer. I think if you have any questions at all about somebody's character or about, bringing somebody into your organization, I think you have to potentially look at somebody else. And I'm not saying this kid's a bad apple or a bad character. And we all, run into mistakes. We all celebrate different ways. Some people have too much to drink. Some people want to go street racing. You do your own thing, whatever. You have to know what you're getting into with the kid. Is this the only issue? Is this something that's a character issue, or was it a one-time mistake? I'm not really sure what the issue is here completely, and how much legal ramifications are we looking at. So there's a lot to be sorted out here, and definitely you want as few red flags as possible, obviously, when you're looking at drafting somebody in the top 10.
There are teams that won't draft a player based on this. There are teams that will draft a player based on that. Like, there's no one way to do it successfully, or everybody would do it. You know what I mean? And, having a dad that worked in the NHL for 26 years as a scout, having been around the block a few times myself, there are teams that just won't draft a player if there are any questions whatsoever. But as you say, what's to say he's a bad kid? It didn't say anywhere that alcohol was involved in the crash, and I would suggest if it was, we'd have known. It would have been in the arrest warrant. Have you ever raced on the street or a grid road? Have you? Because I have. I'll put it right. I have.
Of course. I mean,
right.
Not Fast and the Furious racing at that type of speed, but you kind of, you do things like that once. It happens when you're a kid or when you're celebrating. God knows I've done enough crazy things that maybe I wish I hadn't have done back in the day. Does it make, is it a character thing? That's the biggest issue. Is it a character thing, or did a kid make a mistake and, do something he shouldn't have been doing?
Well, that's is up to the teams to figure out. Maybe that would have been a good poll question, by the way, today. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow on a Football Friday. Would you draft Jalen Carter? I think I would. Top defensive tackle in the draft, national champion Georgia Bulldog. By the way, updating the poll question, we've got a lot of people tuned in for the first time here today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Who is the best trade piece still available in the National Hockey League in advance of Friday's draft? And again, say it with me, Clark. Brock Besser, Colton Parayko, John Klingberg, Jonathan Quick. Right. Who's leading? Brock Besser. Well, Vancouver, prove to us that you know what you're doing and get rid of Brock Besser pronto. By the way, Julie Stewart-Binks coming up, Scott Laughlin and Serena Taylor to talk all of this hockey stuff later on. Moving on, I want your take on this. Point 5, Brad Gushue's team is back at the Tim Hortons Briar in London, Ontario as defending champions. They'll have to change their residency situation, though, or roster makeup next season. if they need to qualify to return for the provincials. A successful title defense at Budweiser Gardens would ensure they come back as Team Canada. But if they don't do that and they got to go through their home province, they're going to have a problem. Under current rules, only one import player is allowed per team. The others must be bona fide residents of the same province or territory or have birthright status. However, Gushu's team has 2 players who are not based in Newfoundland. Gushu and vice Mark Nichols live in St. John's, but newcomer E.J. Harnden lives in Sault Ste. Marie, and lead Jeff Walker is an Edmonton resident. A Curling Canada clarification on the issue was provided in the media guide, the competitor guide, issued to teams leading up to the Brier, and in a copy of it sent to the Canadian press, the national sport organization, Curling Canada, said, a review found there is not total clarity around residency requirements for Team Canada. I actually have time for this discussion for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is me wanting to live wherever I want and ply my trade. Why can't curlers do that? I had a great chat. We got to get Rachel Homan on the air, and we've had her on before. We have the same speaker manager, by the way. She said, why the hell do we have to be restricted to where we live? That would be another great poll question, but who cares? Who literally cares? Do you? Yeah, think about it.
A little bit.
I think it's time we talked about it.
A little bit.
You do?
I know. A little bit. You know, and this is something where you're representing your province. It's funny. I ran here at the Canada Games. I ran into a guy by the name of Andrew Fitchner. Mama's ears just perked up. Kid I graduated high school with. Haven't seen him since 2005. His partner works for his mission staff for Team Manitoba. They live in Winnipeg. And he's wearing Manitoba gear. I'm like, Andrew, what are you doing wearing Manitoba gear? You're from Saskatchewan.
Traitor.
Right? And he's
traitor.
He's like, I live in Winnipeg now. He's like, I'm from Winnipeg. When people ask where I'm from now, I'm from Winnipeg. And it's kind of funny. So you have that attachment. But he also feels the attachment to Saskatchewan, and he could easily put on the Saskatchewan jacket and go to town. I think either of those are okay. But just to say, look at Northern Ontario doesn't have any good curlers. I'm gonna go there and compete for them, but I've got no attachment to that province. You know what I mean? I don't like, because now you're losing a little bit of that provincial side of it, and you're going to lose.
What if I said
lot
this?
Of what makes curling
Stop.
great.
We can actually argue this a little bit. I'm a little surprised that you care this much about it, but it's fine. It's good for the debate. But Canadian status to play in the Canadian Football League used to be you had to live in Canada for 6 years of your life, way back. Now it's just to have a mom who might have set foot in Canada. You're a Canadian player to play in the CFL. No, actually, it's if one of your parents has a Canadian passport, blah, 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 blah. But who really cares? Like, look at me. I'm as have been called, as you know, as Saskatchewan as a wheat field. That's always going to be me. Can we not, as a curling association, say, if you lived in X province for 6 years, 12 years, whatever, I lived there for 47 years, but I don't anymore. You going to tell me I'm not Saskatchewan or can't represent Saskatchewan? Seriously? And I go back to Rachel Homan. If you had that distinction that you have to have lived in that province or have some tie, then you can represent that province. Or, look at Ben Hebert, our good friend Ben Hebert, formerly of Team Cooey and now with Team Botcher. He did do the right thing. He moved to Alberta. It's worked out great for him. So he's complying by the rules. But basically what Rachel Homan said, we're pro-athletes. Why can we not come together for spiels, championships, playdowns, and then live somewhere else the rest of the year? Give me a break.
Yeah, I think like when you look at the spiels and stuff, that's where it's going. Create your super team and your Team Homan. You're not Team Ontario. I think for the national championship, it's a little different. And I think that's the side of it. You're either living in Alberta, like Ben Hebert, for example. You're either living in Alberta and competing for Alberta, or he's from Saskatchewan, so he should be able to put on the Saskatchewan flag. Those would be the options. He's from Saskatchewan. He's living in Alberta. So those would be his two options. He wouldn't be able to compete for the Yukon and say, they're not very good in Yukon, always finishing in the bottom. I'm going to go compete for Yukon because I know I don't have to play against Cooey. I know I'm instantly going to get into the Brier and win. That, I think, is the problem. But where you're from and where you live, I think are the two places that make sense.
They got to do something. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says that's how Alex Singleton qualified as a Canadian, now with the Denver Broncos. Robin in Prince Albert says, do you see them changing the format for each province to compete to the top 12 to 14 teams and drop the province tag? Well, that's up to them. I don't believe they should do that. I just think they should change how you qualify to play for a province. From Andre, he says, it's funny because the public views curlers as very mild, but they're super wild party people. Yeah, I know. Everybody can be Andre. From Dan, the Oiler man, he says, nah, it's where you live. Period. Says you. Two quick things. Saskatoon Blades announcing that they're setting an all-time attendance record. I think it's March 13th when the Regina Pats come to town. I'll say it again. The Blades aren't setting the record. Connor Bedard is. Thank you. And from the Canadian Football League today, the Toronto Argonauts announced they have re-signed Canadian running back Andrew Harris. He's 35 years of age. He has won 3 consecutive Grey Cups. This guy put him right in the hall. 4 Grey Cup titles overall, 5 CFL All-Star nominations, 6 West Division All-Stars, Most Outstanding Canadian Award, Grey Cup MVP. Bravo, Andrew Harris. Bravo, Toronto Argonauts. Moose, I think your work here is done today. Thanks. Hope you had fun.
Awesome. Always a blast. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, it is. Coming up next, Julie Stewart-Banks from Sports New York TV. Talk about all this NHL. It's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus TV. WQEE, your southern home of sports and talk. 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. but there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
What a fantastic day. Game day here in South Florida. Panthers home to Nashville tonight. Can't wait to be at that one. By the way, Clark, we got a text has come in on the 902 line from the Edwards boys. They said they're on the road. They're watching right now. They sent a photo. They're on the way to Calgary to watch the Leafs. And they sent a photo from last night's game at Edmonton. We can put it up next segment if you want. You got plenty of time. Perry Shockey watching down in Lethbridge. A big hockey day. 10 more games tonight. But Julie Stewart-Binks joins us from New York right now. You know her. You love her. I'm looking at her Twitter bio. Sports New York TV, NBC Sports, Fubo TV. There's a lot of things. JSB, nice to make your acquaintance again. How are you, girl?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Rod. I feel like you had to just get a refresher reminder of where I'm at these days because it has changed a lot over the years since my wonderful glory days at CTV Regina, of which I think about all the time. And I do have to tell you, Rod, I was looking through some old broadcasts the other night and you were on one where we had interviewed you when you had switched jobs. And that was about maybe 2011 or 2013. It was between the 2011, 2012, 2013 era. But, and I actually have to clip it off and show you, but it was when I was looking for a piece I put out about Luke Shen giving advice to Morgan Riley, who had yet to play his first game in the NHL, and he'd been drafted by the Leafs. And now Morgan Riley played 700 games last night in Edmonton, and that is one way to make yourself feel old. But I had to say I was reminded of you just going back through old broadcasts.
I don't know.
I'll send that to you.
I don't know if I want to see it or not, and I don't know if you want to talk about the Leafs game last night, but we will. One thing that hasn't changed is JSB's a Leafs fan, but please give me your recap of the NHL All-Star Weekend festivities. What a wonderful time it was running into each other at FLA Live Arena.
Yes, as I said to you in person, it just felt like you were Kevin Costner coming out of the cornfield in Field of Dreams. I was just staring, looking at a wall, I guess, and then Rod just suddenly appeared. And I hadn't seen you in so long in the flesh. Years. And it was a wonderful surprise. We had a quick catch up as we watched what was a really sort of confusing skills competition of which you need a degree in to try to decipher what was going on. But All-Star was wonderful. As for myself, I'm in New York. I work for SNY, Sportsnet New York. Tons of tri-state guys there. So I convinced them, which is a Mets network, to cover hockey. And it was great because then that was also the week that Bo Horvat was traded to, Vancouver Canucks fans, but to the Islanders. We were able to talk with him. And all around, it was just, it was exciting, but it was also really challenging to cover that event, I found. Just like going from the beach where everything was to then the rink. And then there's just a lot going on. And so you have to have like your itinerary set ready to go for battle essentially that day because there's just so much. You got to pick your spots. You can't cover everything. But all in all, great to be able to like talk with some of these huge all-stars when for the last while we haven't been in a locker room because of COVID for years.
Yeah. Well, it was like Dr. Seuss planned the skills competition. That's what I think. So the Leafs...
Like a 2-year-old planned it. Yeah.
Yes. The Oilers skated circles around the Leafs last night. I did not expect that. What was your read on that game and all the trades?
Okay, well, first of all, I guess like maybe the East Coast bias, right? Like we see a lot of East Coast games over here. I'm watching Rangers, I'm watching Devils, I'm watching a lot of East Coast stuff. When I'm seeing the Oilers, I was a bit surprised. Maybe not, but like they're just They were just so good. They were just a tier above. And I put out some tweet that was kind of like, everyone in the East stockpiling assets trades, like getting all like the arms race that we know that's going on, and the Oilers just being like, like have fun basically, because whoever's out there could potentially meet us in the Stanley Cup final and we're gonna toast you guys. And so seeing them last night, seeing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the power play, and then Zach Hyman, who of course was a Leafs favorite, he decided to leave, but still hurts as a Leafs fan. And then just seeing the depth from the Oilers, and they are a scary good team. We know that the Leafs, like they were having some new guys debut last night, Jake McCabe and Lafferty and these guys that are coming in and just getting to the system. So a lot of these games I take it with a grain of salt, because it's like getting new guys back in, and new first day of school, both those guys took a penalty. But what I will say is the elephant in the room is goaltending for the Leafs, and has been and will be until it is figured out. I was listening to Sportsnet, and they said, Matt Murray's really good at playing at home and not so much on the road. Or it was Samsonov, I forget which one it was. I love him. This is analysis with me. It's like drunk history sometimes. It was one or the other. And then they suggested that, one guy could play on the road and one guy could play at home. And it's like, that's not really how it works. Like, what if one guy gets injured and then he has to play on the road, and you've created this odd system? So I don't know. Throughout the entire trade deadline, especially looking at the Leafs, I've always been like, okay, so any goaltenders out there want to come here, especially with the fact that Matt Murray's coming back off of injury? What's he going to be like? And seeing Jonathan Quick and that whole mess that happened with the Kings, which I think was really disrespectful for him after he's won them 2 cups and has been there forever, to just ship him off. At least give him a heads up and figure it out, and have it kind of like not just be such a surprise for him and his family. I was like, man, Leafs, go get Jonathan Quick. Like, I don't know if that would help you at all at this point, but there's a certain couple holes. Yeah.
Well, what about, I don't know what the financial ramifications are of getting Jonathan Quick there, but boy, I like the way you think. But what about the Rangers? Like, they went from here to here. Patrick Kane can only help, right?
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be something going on with the Rangers today, debuting new guy. Only thing that anyone can talk about, of course, very big news, Patrick Kane coming to the Rangers. And it was one of the worst kept secrets when we started to see all the pieces fall into place. And you saw when they got Tarasenko, his words about really kind of wanting to be a Ranger, right? And so Patrick Kane really was a part of this, facilitating this trade deal. You can look at Chris Drury and what he was able to do with certain assets and offloading cap space and that's kind of stuff all over, the 3 teams involved, like all that. But Patrick Kane had to be behind this in a big way. And so you worry, I was just looking now, the Rangers have $1,608 in cap space, which is basically like my bank account right now. So I was like, that is real tough when you are looking down the stretch at potential injuries that could happen. They've really been lucky with not having to have a whole lot of injuries this year on, whether it's forwards or it's the defense as well, except for now, at this moment, they're dealing with the fact that they haven't been able to call up an emergency call up for defense because Ryan Lindgren being out and Keandre Miller with his suspension. So the league has said no to that. In the CBA, they are allowed to have an emergency call because they don't have enough. They can't dress enough defensemen. So they're waiting on a response. I saw on Twitter that Vince Mercogliano from USA Today and Loha.com said that the Rangers already knew that Lindgren was going to be out and they decided not to call up anyone because of the whole cap situation. So perhaps they might be being, scolded for how they acted in that way. Who knows? It's very complicated, but I'm sure that the league will address it at some point. But right now you're in this like house of cards situation where it's like, wow, you've got one of the best players in the world who has been playing so well, but you've got literally no room to mess up. And you've got a very short window. They can't sign him to an extension. I saw that Greg Wyshynski was tweeting about Patrick Kane says he's not sure if he's going to sign an extension. You got $1,608. Like, Patrick Kane's not staying for pennies. I mean, obviously they'll have more space. Things will happen. They need to sign Keandre. What happens with Alexis Lafreniere? But this is one of those, gosh, you've put, it's like fantasy, right? Like you put it all on red. Like, let's just see. It's either going to work or it's not going to work at all. It's literally one or the other right now. And so as Rangers fans, talking with a lot of my friends, and my boyfriend's a massive Rangers fan, you can kind of see it. We have a Henrik Lundqvist practice stick up there. Everyone's a little bit on edge because it's exciting, but it's also like we could have just really salvaged any kind of future.
Well, gamble big, you win big. You know what I mean? Or lose big, but at least you're in it.
Yeah, what usually
JSP,
happens,
always
I don't
great.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thanks for this. Enjoy the rest of the trade deadline stuff, and we'll do it again soon here, hopefully in the playoffs.
Appreciate it. Always great to talk with you, Rod. Thanks.
Julie Stewart-Binks from Sportsnet New York joining us from the Big Apple. We got a sports update and audience takeover coming up next. Serena Taylor and Scott Laughlin in hour 2. Big hockey day today on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
We got to go quick here, but I'd like to get to as many of your messages and comments as possible. 902-518-3033. I'm loving the curling debate from earlier. The Curling Canada rules are gray. Shocking over how many imports you can have on your team as we approach the Brier, which gets going, tomorrow in London, Ontario? John Ohm, one of our P1s from Winnipeg, writes in, he goes, I live in Winnipeg and work for a company from Toronto. It's 2023, boys and girls. It's about happiness, not handcuffing the athletes and the employees. And I know Serena Taylor, who will be with us next hour, will have some thoughts on all of this. Sports update on this Thursday. The Boston Bruins were already on pace for the best record in NHL history when they added toughness and depth for what they hope will be a long playoff run. Now GM Don Sweeney has helped secure the team's future, too. The Bruins signed All-Star forward David Pastrnak to an 8-year contract extension today that will pay him $90 million, the sixth richest deal in NHL history. From the Dub, Wednesday night, Brandon Lazowski and Igor Sidorev each scored 2 goals as the Saskatoon Blades earned a 5-2 victory over the Red Deer Rebels. Thank you, Blades, for accepting my joshing of you today about the all-time attendance record. That was nice of you not to strike back. In Medicine Hat, Oasis Weisblatt had 2 goals and 2 assists to lead the Tigers in taking down the #1 overall Winnipeg Ice 6-4. In Prince George, Mazden Leslie netted a hat trick to power the Vancouver Giants to a 6-2 win over PG. In Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Ryland Roarsma had a hat trick. Anthony Wilson had a goal and 2 helpers, and the Brandon Wheat Things upset the Moose Jaw Warriors 7-3. And Carson Golder had a hat trick and 1 assist. Andrew Crystal added a hat trick of his own. And the Kelowna Rockets topped the Spokane Chiefs 7-4. World #1 John Rahm headlines a strong field at the PGA's Arnold Palmer Invitational. Defending champion and world #2 Scotty Scheffler also tees off in the $20 million event at Bay Hill today. The Canadian contingent includes Adam Svensson, Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes, Corey Connors, and Adam Hadwin. This sports update brought to you by Last Minute of Play in Hour 1. Brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now, 80 for Brady. It's inspired by the true story of 4 best friends living life to the fullest when they take a wild trip to the 2017 Super Bowl to see their hero, Tom Edward Brady, play. Starring Academy Award winner Lily Tomlin, Academy Award winner Jane Fonda, Academy Award winner Rita Moreno, Academy Award winner Sally Field. Okay, we get it. Produced by 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady. Check it out this weekend. Landmark Cinemas, 80 for Brady. John Ohm. Oh, man, we got to write these down. Ohm, do you honestly think Connor McDavid will be an Oiler forever? Woo! Going to talk about that. Lots of things coming up after this brief break on Game Plus and WQE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad. Now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show. Official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
She could be cool
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hashtag dad advice from Jim Pedersen, my dad, who said, cheer as loud as you want for your own team. Don't ever boo the other team. Don't ever boo the other team. And to boo your own team? Unthinkable. In the world of James William Pedersen. So, A, I would never do it. B, with the cost of those things? Are you kidding me?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. It sure is. Welcome to Hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Changing things up a little bit from yesterday, as you can see, but the content's the same. The pizza's still the same. It's just the delivery box is a little different. Serena Taylor's with us, ready to talk hockey.
Always.
Of course you are. Hey, loved the intro there that Jordan pulled, the boys that were behind that. My dad, Jim Pedersen, whenever I go to the rink, especially and I run into the NHL scouts, I always think of my dad because he's one of them. And they used to always say, how's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? How's Jimmy? Jimmy not with us anymore. But good guy. Hey, and I'm excited to go to
everyone knows you. I would run into human beings in airports all across America. You know Jim Pedersen? I swear that's true.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the old guy who is watching today, I'm sure, as we are live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast platform. And I was saying to the Moose 1 hour ago, I long ago put the anxiety disorder to bed when it came to this show because I'm not going to worry. It's like we don't have to be on top of everything. We don't have to be too technical. This is The View for sports fans. And so far, we've had Darren Moose Dupont today from the Canada Winter Games and PEI, Julie Stewart-Binks from Sportsnet New York talking with the NHL trade deadline, not to mention other things. You're probably, you wouldn't mind talking about the Blue Jays probably at some point, right?
I'll always talk about the Blue Jays.
You're good. That's the thing. So whatever you want to talk about, fire it into us here over the next hour. Serena's going to be with us for 40 minutes, and then Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM NHL Radio is going to talk. Like, it's just a ridiculous amount of trades here leading up to Friday's deadline. Rich Sutter is going to be joining us on Friday. It'll be a football Friday, but Richie's going to join us to talk about all these trades. It's not going to be that dead yet. I want to read this text from Metal Shingle Guy just to get what some of the guys have written in. He is watching in YQR. He says, I'm at the dentist watching on YouTube, the Orlando Guardians are the XFL's worst team. Offensive line problems. Brett Boyko can't hurt. The XFL can change players overnight. CFL not so fast. Go Roughnecks. That's the breaking news from today. Saskatoon product Brett Boyko, former Philadelphia Eagle, offensive lineman, plus a Rough Rider and BC Lion, has signed with Orlando at the XFL. We'll get into more of that tomorrow. Perry S. Hockey. Shocky's the name, hockey's the game, is watching in Lethbridge, Alberta, and he says that your attitude is critical in our industry. Has anybody ever accused you of having an attitude?
Not recently.
Not today.
Not in the last 3 minutes, but apparently he did.
It shocks. He likes it. He likes it. Devin in Burns Lake, BC, writes in, says, good morning, Rod and the squad. It's a plethora of hockey tonight. Have a good one. And from Jim Wagner, watching in Balgoni, Sask, glad you asked. He said, good day, RP Nation. New people tuned into the RP show today. Congratulations, you're now hooked on RP for life. I like it. So you can write us as we go along, 902-518-3033. The Oilers, you didn't stay up and watch it, but they schooled the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. Was it 5-2, 6-2? Moose said not a big deal.
Of course he did. He's a Leafs fan.
Right.
I feel like it was a big deal as an Oilers fan. What I loved initially, the very first play of the game, Ekholm was up in the play right away for Edmonton. I knew it would be a good thing for him, like I said yesterday, for him to start with the Oilers in Edmonton. It's going to get his juices going, and if you can handle that type of environment, you'll be good. But I think he did hot right away. It was interesting out there watching him, like, it's got to be him because it was on my phone. He's the only big defenseman moving. Edmonton has neither big nor fast defenseman, so I'm like, it's got to be him, and he was great.
Well, it's going to be fun here with Serena for the next 40 minutes. Allie in Texarkana writes in and says, Serena time. Loving the hair today. Kevin the medium, Kevin from Airdrie, says, good morning or afternoon, Serena. You're a good friend.
It's morning where some of you are. It's afternoon where some of we are.
Randy in Winnipeg says, great hat, Serena.
Isn't this a beauty? I get asked where I got this everywhere I go.
What do you tell them?
I bought it online somewhere, like probably 10 or 15 years ago. I don't even remember.
Rich in Edmonton says, always great to beat the Leafs at home. By the way, Producer Clark, were you able to dig that photo up from the Edwards brothers on the 902 text line? Oh, he's going to dig it. Yeah, no rush on that. These guys sent this in last hour for viewer takeover. I kind of feel sorry for them. Two guys from the Queen City wearing their Leafs jerseys, two brothers, go to the Oilers game, Leafs, and the Leafs get spanked. Now they're watching right now, and they're driving to Calgary, set to watch the Leafs and the Flames tonight. And Clark says it's coming in hot. He's got it here. Here it is. There it is on the screen. Gene Principe. They invaded Gene's set. Those are the Edwards brothers. Look how proud they are. Look at the... Especially the one in the middle. I can't get them straight. One of them's Ed Edwards, and I believe the other one's Mike. So
are they twins?
You'd think.
They look like twins.
Yes. Way to go, boys, and thanks for watching, and thanks for sending the photo in. I told you this is all going to be a lot of fun, so I'm trying to just slow this down. Ryan in Saratoga, New York, watching, says, I have a hockey question for Serena. Do you think the Devils are done dealing, or do you think they could use a sandpaper guy such as Tom Wilson or Max Domi to prepare for a deep playoff run? Because they got the number one trade piece, Timo Meier. So if you're going to do that, you'd like to think that you're going to go all in.
Yeah, and those are two totally different guys. Tom Wilson or Max Domi, completely different players. But I hear what you're saying. Do I think they're done? Probably, because I'm not sure what they would give up. I think they kind of want to hold on to what they've got right now, but we've been shocked before. If I was them, if a trade makes sense to get a guy like Tom Wilson, that's what I would do. I would personally never pick up Max Domi. I don't know if he would fit well in New Jersey, to be honest, from the top down. But if they could do it, potentially, I think they might be done.
I'm not sure that anybody should do that. I saw our guy probably watching right now, Joe Lazito in New York. He was tweeting and watches the show on Altus Cable. We're available every day on television in Manhattan, Altus Cable provider. He said, Max Domi, red flag. He goes, I don't know anything about the guy, but 5 teams in 9 years? Why are teams in such a rush to punt Max Domi out the door? I don't think anybody you don't hear Max Domi being in trouble ever, but he's always available at trade deadline time. Why is that?
He was like PK Subban. Same thing. He really didn't do anything wrong. Just I would never want him as an Oiler, and that's how I always look at it. If I was a general manager on a team, you got to cut your losses. And I don't really think Max Domi is that great of a talent that you would throw anything away for him.
He's not. He's good. He's not that great. And Colin is watching in Ottawa. He says, I can't wait for Trade Center tomorrow because the TSN talking heads will have to do some stupid fluff TV to keep us entertained for 9 hours of nothing. Randy in Winnipeg says TSN's Trade Center will be a Leaf love-in. It always is. That's just the way that it is. And trust me, I get it since we went to television on Game Plus Network. Look at a map, people. Just look at a map. Population, I mean. With Toronto, that's why TSN does it. I don't think she's from the Western Canada too. I don't think we ever didn't realize why TSN was the Toronto Sports Network. It was annoying though.
I think we're just so used to everything being based around that. But the reality of it is the U.S. and Canada are two completely different places. Canada's one big town, and the U.S. is sectioned off. You know, we have Bally Sports West. There's about 15 Bally Sports networks in the U.S. And Canada has Pacific and whatever, Sportsnet, whatever it is, but it's still the same kind of thing. It's a lot different down here. It's all structured differently. So we don't see anything other than that.
And by the way, fellas and gals, you think it's hard to fill 9 hours of fluff? Watch ESPN sometime, or any one of their 8 channels in Fox Sports 1 talking about where Aaron Rodgers is going to go, which, by the way, the Packers quarterback, I love this. He came out yesterday and said, if you don't like my drama, where I'm going to play this year, tune me out. I'm like, thanks, Aaron. I did. We're talking hockey. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I don't need to listen to TSN to tell us how great the Leafs are tomorrow. We're going to find out how great they are. Look, a word on the Flames game tonight as we turn our attention to what the games are tonight. We've talked about the Oilers skating circles around the Leafs last night, which they did. Wow. What are the Flames going to do? They're 5 points out. They got the Leafs on back-to-back nights. This shouldn't be close tonight.
I'd like to know why Calgary always gets the second game of a back-to-back and Edmonton has to have the first game. Wait.
Beyond that,
are we going to the Gary Bettman thing again? I think that Toronto's going to come out hot tonight. They know Calgary is struggling, and Toronto's like, all right, we blew it in Edmonton last night. We've got to make it happen. We have to. That's going to be a big game, I think, for both of those teams, because if Calgary wins, that's really tough on Toronto. If Toronto wins, Calgary's sunk.
902-518-3033, the number to reach us right here in the studio. You can also write in on YouTube. I do want to mention one other thing before we look at two things before we look at tonight's game. The Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center poll question today is, who is the best remaining available trade piece? John Klingberg, Colton Parayko, Jonathan Quick, and who else? Oh, Max Domi. Was it Domi? Who was it, Click? Brock Besser. How can you tell me? Went back and forth on this all morning in our meetings. Brock Besser, John Klingberg, Jonathan Quick, or Colton Parayko. Yes?
I don't know.
You were going to say something.
I don't know who it would be. I don't know who I would vote for on that one. They all have positives that they bring to a team, just depending on who's looking for them, who needs them.
Ted in Red Deer says, it appears to me Max Domi is more famous than good. Just my opinion. From Colin in Ottawa, he says, as if it only took a conditional first rounder and 2 second rounders for Jacob Chychrun. Still 2 years left on his deal. Pierre Dorian might have saved his job as the Sens GM. Well, listen, this is where it gets confusing. Clark was telling us this morning, and I believe you were privy to that conversation, that the owner in Arizona said you're going to trade Chychrun and you're not allowed to take any salary back. That's doing things on the cheap. That's why they got draft choices. But a very interesting thing, and I'm guessing I'll see Jeff Chychrun tonight. Jeff Chychrun is Jacob's dad. He's on the Florida Panthers TV broadcast. I see him every game. And I was, you and I were talking about, how did Chychrun come out of Florida and be all that? And one of the NHL scouts I saw in Regina said that his dad, I don't know if you knew this or not, flew him out of here to Detroit to play all this minor hockey.
I did not know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
I didn't know it either. So, listen, Chychrun to the Ottawa Senators, that was literally, to me, that was the biggest shock of this whole deal. Any of these trades that you just kind of sat back and went, what or why?
That's probably the most shocking one. Going back to yesterday, I was shocked that the Kings traded Quick because I wasn't expecting it, but I think it was a good trade for the Kings. This one, time will tell.
Do you feel that Jonathan Quick should be insulted for the way this has gone down? Because I'm seeing a lot of it now. I'm seeing she lived in Southern California for how long?
15 years. 10 years.
Would it be accurate to say Ducks and Kings fans hate each other?
I wouldn't say that for sure. Dodgers and Angels fans hate each other. It's deeper. It's deeper.
It's a dislike.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is even Ducks fans are going, ooh, they did Quick dirty by moving him out of there. It didn't totally make sense to me, but can you explain again? You did yesterday, but for the people that weren't watching yesterday or listening, John Quick they'll retire his number, won't they? They have to.
Probably. Like we were talking about it, when was the last time a goaltender that played 16 years on one team, or a player for that matter? I can't believe he's already been there 16 years. I was shocked when they let him go, but like I said yesterday, it could be just a situation of a general manager is finally going, we might as well get rid of a guy before he retires. Look at Anaheim. They were going to keep Getzlaf. You can't trade a guy like Ryan Getzlaf, but they clearly got nothing for him, and maybe that was the mentality.
Before we swing it around, that I do want to talk about the Oilers, because a question came in last hour about, do we expect Connor McDavid to finish his career as an Oiler? And I'm pretty sure that you have thoughts on that. But can you speak to our audience, which is predominantly Canadian, about Ryan Getzlaf's status in Anaheim and how I don't think you ever believed, despite rumors otherwise, he was going to sign with the Canadian team near the end of his career?
Never. Not for 1 second.
Why is that?
Because when Ryan first started playing there, he was obscure. Nobody really knew who he was. He could go to the mall. It was one of those things. And then as time went on, he became the captain, and people kind of really started to understand who he was. And he was just a part of that. I don't think there was any part of that team that was willing to let him go. And there wasn't even really a lot of talk about like, ooh, is he going to finish his career with the Canadian team? I don't think he's that kind of a guy. I think he's the kind of guy that says, this is the team that drafted me. He's the Kirby Puckett of hockey. I think he just was ready to finish out his career there, and that's what he wanted. They probably asked him. He ran that team, as he should have. It's just, I think he's just that kind of a person, and I really admire him for that.
Ran that team in with a lot of success. So when we come back, we'll talk about Connor McDavid and what type of player and person is he, and do we see him ending his career with the Edmonton Oilers? How does this season end for the Edmonton Oilers? And whatever else you people would like to talk about. You like the Ron and Don thing?
I like it.
Seems to be going fine. 902-518-3033 to text us here in the YouTube chat as always, and we'll be right back. We're on Game Plus Television live across all 10 Canadian provinces, 2 territories, and 31 U.S. states on your television, and on the radio, WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod. Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
Okay, we're good. Sorry about that. False alarm. And we're back live on Game Plus Television, WQEE. Game night here in South Florida. The Nashville Predators are in town. And trust me, we're going to stay on point because I do want to talk about Connor McDavid and the Oilers. But that is one of 10 games tonight. Pittsburgh Penguins at Tampa Bay. Ottawa Senators at the New York Rangers. Nashville at Florida's mentioned. Buffalo at Boston, a tremendous Adams division clash, is it not? I can't remember. It's been a while. Seattle at Detroit, Dallas at Chicago, Leafs at Flames. Like literally the Flames were in must-win territory the rest of the way. Minnesota at Vancouver, St. Louis at San Jose, and Montreal is at the Los Angeles Kings. Nate is watching in White City. He's written in on the 902 line, watching on Game Plus TV. He says, I would take a chance on a pissed-off Jonathan Quick for a playoff run. He still has some gas left in the tank. So I just want to go back to this for a second. People need to realize something, which I know they never will, but I've said it at least 1,000 times. Don't think these are just hockey trades. And it's not just hockey. It's football, too. It's any sport where a salary cap is involved, Serena, as you know. These are financial decisions. So moving Jonathan Quick, and Clark put out all his save percentage. Maybe I don't have it in front of me right now, but showing a declining save percentage for Jonathan Quick. Do you feel like the good times are over for him? What do you think went into this move for the Kings?
I think that the good times truly were over after the Kings won their second Stanley Cup.
Wow.
I feel like Jonathan Quick has been stable, but I don't think he's really stood on his head for them. It's not that he was terrible. I think he's a phenomenal goaltender, and I do think he still has some in the tank. He's got that God-given talent, but he's super flexible, and he's all over the place. He's always aware of where the puck is. So, yes, he could make a difference, absolutely, but I don't think there's too much left in that tank.
Yeah, he steals the odd game, but just not more often than not like he used to. I get it. Well, I don't want to leave people hanging on this, and this is the last appearance of Serena this week. But on the Connor McDavid thing, it was John Ohm in Winnipeg last hour who said, do we really believe Connor McDavid will finish his career in Edmonton? Talking about loyalty, whether it be from the team to the player or the player to the team. Look what the Kings just did to Jonathan Quick, a franchise great. How do you think the McDavid thing will play out?
He'll never stay in Edmonton his whole career.
Yeah?
Edmonton has proven, and this is lighting a fire here, they are not loyal to their players. Even former players that work for the team are not loyal to the current players. We saw how Kevin Lowe shipped away Ryan Smith with absolutely zero loyalties. It's the same thing they did to Wayne. It's no different. And I think McDavid is also kind of like a Getzlaf kind of guy where he would stay there. I mean, the guy has been through, let's be honest, they've been underperforming over the last 5 to 10 years with the two top players in the NHL right now. Granted, they weren't the top players at the time, but they've propelled themselves up there. Unfortunately, no, I don't think he will stay.
Jen from the Four Seasons writes in, she says, if he's traded, it'll be another emotional scar. Just like when Gretzky was traded. But it's interesting. The Flames have traded away guys in the past. The massive Dougie Gilmour trade, the Joe Nieuwendyk trade, got rid of Iggy. I don't feel the gash like Edmonton. Do you know what I mean? They don't talk about it in Calgary, these guys leaving. In Edmonton, they talk about Wayne every day.
Yeah, but here's the problem. When Edmonton got rid of both Wayne and Smitty, they got nothing in return. They were terrible trades. Terrible. So that's the difference. At least the Leafs got Dougie Gilmour and the Flames got Iggy. There was at least a normal trade that it's like a blockbuster, but neither one of the Gretzky or the Ryan Smith trade was a blockbuster. It was just a sellout.
Yeah. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, wow, what a shot coming from an Oiler fan. He's talking about you. But you're just going to say it the way that it is. Right? That's
I mean, that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah, that's what we do here. Well, and
Edmonton doesn't make the smartest trades.
We brought up some things she doesn't like to talk about. Yesterday, you're not seeing the screen. Jeff, the Stamps fan, said Gretzky was still in his prime.
Yeah, Jeff, we know. That's why we're pissed off still.
I don't feel like I want to deal with this, you bringing that up.
Yeah, come on, Jeff.
Landry writes in, he says, Connor deserves better. The fans deserve better to see the top player be on the big stage.
Well, I mean,
what do we deserve? What do we deserve?
Top 4 team last year. Like, I can't. That's not really. I get it. But just because you have the top 2 players in the NHL right now, and Edmonton has some great active players on their second and third line. There's a lot of guys that work really hard. Tyson Barrie, case in point, not the biggest defenseman, but he works really hard and he was coming into his own. They play as a team, which is what the Los Angeles Kings did when they won their first Stanley Cup. They came out of nowhere and they brought it. Can Edmonton do that this year? Maybe. When they went to the Stanley Cup in 2006, they were the 8th-seeded team. You never know what can happen. I wouldn't sell them out yet.
Yeah, so just going back to that loyalty thing, I feel like the Gretzky thing was 35 years ago. We still haven't gotten over it. That was the last day that I was an Oiler fan. But what do we owe each other in the employment world? What do we really owe each other? Jonathan Quick delivered. Somebody just said he's been paid really well for 16 years, won 2 Stanley Cups. Do the LA Kings really owe him anything? Really?
Does he owe them anything?
I'm asked either way.
Yeah, it's maybe he wanted to go. Who knows? Like everybody's talking about, well, did they do him dirty? Maybe he wanted to leave. There's so much stuff behind the scenes when it comes to players, families, and whatever else that we don't see. It's not our business.
Yeah, interesting.
That's their life.
Yeah, sure. And interesting, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the Flames have also drafted terribly. Yeah, you hear that all the time. And I know there are people who are watching this show all the time. They tell me that. But look at Johnny Gaudreau, who has not lit it up in Columbus, but he's had a tremendous career statistically. Matthew Tkachuk is the face of the Florida Panthers. Shocking. He was voted the player of the game by the fans the other night. There's teams that have drafted worse than the Calgary Flames. Let's put it that way. Far worse than the Calgary Flames. But I feel like it's interesting that this is like the Flames are like not quite yet roadkill, but if you notice, Serena, the Oilers fans are looking ahead. Leafs fans, Jets fans to a degree, and Flames fans, and to a certain extent media, because I follow them too, are sitting wanting to say, where did this go wrong? They're there already.
I think it's been like that for a while.
Like this season, you mean, or for years?
For the Flames.
No, but I know, but this season?
Yeah, this season. I think it's been, everybody's just been waiting and waiting and waiting for something good to happen out of that trade, and it didn't really happen. And so there's been talk about it for a while now.
Here's one. This morning with the Boston Bruins acquiring Tyler Bertuzzi from the Detroit Red Wings. When you heard that, you were like, whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Like, do they need to do this?
Why not? I think Boston, like every other general manager, feels like this is our year. It's like the host team of the Memorial Cup. We might as well throw it all to the wind because look where we are right now. Boston's had so much success. They haven't been up and down like a lot of the other teams in the league have. Boston's been pretty steady, so why not go for it?
Okay, well, now you're talking about things that trigger me. If we're going to talk about Memorial Cups and trades being made as the host team and them not working, the point is you can make too many trades. You said, why not? The Boston Bruins are the #1 team in the NHL. Before today, they were on the way potentially to the best regular season in NHL history. So what I'm saying is, why would you fiddle with what's going great?
But they didn't make a huge trade. They picked up a player, and they signed Pasternak today.
They got Hathaway and Dmitry Orlov from Washington. Then now here's 3 players out of 20 in your dressing room. That's not an insignificant number. That's all that I'm saying. I talked about it yesterday. You weren't on the air, but I had one NHL scout tell me 25 years ago, he goes, I like what your team's doing. And I said, what are we doing? He goes, you're going with what you built coming out of training camp. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but clearly they feel like a guy like Bertuzzi couldn't hurt them, and I don't think he could. I like him a lot.
Bren writes in, says the NHL has lost hundreds of millions of billions of dollars because McJesus doesn't play for a large market NHL team. Where are you, Bren? What makes you say that? I don't know where I stand on that.
I'm curious what the definition of large market team is.
Well, Edmonton's $1 million. Toronto's $8 million. New York's $14 million. And I kind of get it. We always like talking about Connor Bedard in this house, or at least I do. The Saskatoon Blades sending out a news release yesterday that they're setting an all-time franchise attendance record March 13th, 12,000 and change. And I'm like, you're not setting the record. Connor Bedard's setting the record. And by the way, they took it in stride. Because I was saying it somewhere, but what he's saying, all the money is going in the Blades' pocket. Connor Bedard's not getting squat. The point, I guess, is that more people would flock to the rink if McDavid was in a bigger city. In Edmonton, they sell out every game. I don't think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about other markets, more exposure. Fair?
The rinks aren't that much bigger anywhere else. It's not like it's not like college football where you have a 100,000 seat stadium versus a 30,000.
Bren is watching in Abu Dhabi.
Oh.
How big are the rinks there, Bren?
I bet there is one. Is there one? I bet there is one.
Thanks for tuning in, by the way. I also got to tell you this. Watching NHL Network a lot. Tell them, please, what they're advertising on the bottom right of the screen.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tell them, because they won't believe me.
Friday night, they're showing the Pats game. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, but it says Bedard.
Yeah, Connor Bedard is
on ice.
On ice.
Like he would be somewhere else. It is America, by the way.
Connor Bedard on bench and ice.
I kind of think, and you're from small town Saskatchewan, would you not think people might find that hard to believe from Canada, let alone small town Saskatchewan, that the NHL network in America would be promoting a junior hockey game Friday night?
Oh, the only people watching it are Canadian. There's not one American that looked at the bottom of the NHL network and said, ooh, good, I get to watch Connor Bedard. They have no clue. They have no clue who he is. Not to disrespect him. They just don't watch junior hockey. They have no connection to it. They have absolutely no clue.
Well, you've been down here how many years?
15.
Is that what it is? You know better than me. You know better than me. I feel like there's the average Joe Blow doesn't know, of course, who Connor Bedard is, but the hockey fans are starting to figure out, are they not?
The only reason anybody down here, hockey fans, which are completely different, it's a completely different definition than what it is in Canada. The only reason any of them would know is if their kids have social media and their kids watch and they see things on social media like TikTok. There's a bunch of stuff out there. That's truthfully the only reason that they know, because like I said, they don't have the connection to junior hockey.
Robin in Prince Albert says Bedard will look great in a Coyotes jersey. Listen, after what I'm hearing out of Arizona, I don't even want that to happen to the kid. I don't know where I want him to go. Not Columbus, not Arizona. Maybe Anaheim. Terry in Calgary says Taylor Hall went to long-term injured reserve. That's a good point. He is on their top line, so they need something to replace that. But anyways, I could go on forever with you, but we're out of time. Scott Laughlin's lined up next. Any parting words?
Nope, it's been a slice,
It
as
has
usual.
been great. Thanks for coming on. Serena
course.
Taylor, a hockey analyst. Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM. NHL Radio coming up next. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues on this Thursday. Episode 950 of your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air. WQEE Radio, Game Plus TV, and, of course, your favorite podcast platform. Scott Laughlin, outstanding host from SiriusXM NHL Radio. Just before we dive into the trade pool, Scotty, I missed you at the All-Star Week because you know what? I saw you. You were too busy working. There was no holiday for you down here in South Florida, I noticed, Scott.
Yeah, it's lamentable for sure that we didn't get to meet in person once again, Rod, after all these years. I was looking for you, but as you say, I mean, it's a busy time down there. I barely got about an hour and a half to go to the Sawgrass Mills Mall to pick up a couple of things, but that was all I had. I didn't have a chance to get to the Iron Maiden Drummers Bar and Grill. That's one of my big regrets as well from being down there. It's all work and very little play, as you know, Rod.
Well, you did a great job. I listened to it all. And by the way, I'm going to Sawgrass Mills this afternoon. If you want anything, let me know. Great Under Armour store there. Hey, I left my satellite radio in Canada, so I haven't heard your take on all the trades this week. So what is it, Scott, up to today?
Well, I tell you what, Rod, we've been around this game for a long, long time now, and I can't ever remember anything like this leading up to a trade deadline. This has never happened before. We had so much activity on a daily basis, multiple trades to try to break down. I think I saw a note earlier today, Rod, that there have been 13 first-round picks have moved in the past 5 or 6 weeks in the NHL as far as activity goes. You know how it works. It used to be, okay, we'll part with a second-rounder or two, but you're not touching our first rounders. Now teams are like, I'm going all in right now. Boston is head and shoulders above everybody else, and we can talk about the Bruins being that way and strengthening themselves, obviously, with what they got done today with the acquisition of Tyler Bertuzzi. But beyond that, there's no guarantee, even in Boston, that things are going to work out in playoff time. I think a lot of teams believe that they're in there with a chance, and then consequently, that's why you're seeing so many first-round picks change hands.
Oh, dude, listen, Scott, I could go on for hours with you on this. I'm bilingual in Canada's 2 official sports, hockey and football. And here, even in America, the NFL, they're trading first-rounders, too. The GMs are going, they're unproven. Why waste the money? Let's sign vets, whether they be free agents or acquired, because they're proven and we trust them. Has that transferred to hockey, do you think?
Yeah, I think it has, and I think the obvious is, Rod, that we've seen it change over the years, right? With the advent of social media, with all the pressure that comes with winning like yesterday, I think teams are trying to do that. And I know general managers never, ever come out and say, I'm going to take care of what I have to take care of here. This problem for 2 or 3 years down the road, that'll be for the next general manager to try to sort out and work out and perhaps even have to rectify at that time as well. So I think that there is a lot of pressure on these teams and these general managers to get something done now. Like I look like at a team like Buffalo. I look at a team like Dallas, and they've been minimally active up until this point. I mean, if Kevin Adams doesn't come back with something, If Jim Nill doesn't come back with something more than Dodonov, I think that their fan bases are going to start asking some questions. Now, I think you have to understand and ask the question, where are we as a franchise? Certainly, Dallas is a lot further down the road towards a Stanley Cup than the Buffalo Sabres would appear to be, but you still have to give your fan base at least the indication that you're doing all the heavy lifting, that you're working the phones, that you're going to go out there and add just a little bit more something, with all due respect, than just a guy like Riley Stillman.
Wow. Fascinating discussion. And with the Leafs, by the way, is that why we can explain why Kyle Dubas has been as active as he was? And great trades, by the way, but he's making trades for his own ass.
Right? Well, I saw your tweet yesterday, Rod, and I agree with you 110%. When they were making all these trades, you start to wonder, have they done too much? Because you and I realize that general managers get criticized for not doing enough. He's standing pat. That can't happen. I think maybe you can go the other way, too, and maybe you fine-tune, you tinker with your roster a little bit too much. Now, we acknowledge that the glue of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the nucleus, the big four up front in particular, those are the players that are going to have to do all the answering of all the tough questions come playoff time. Can Austin Matthews be better this time around against Tampa? Can Mitch Marner carry all this great regular season success into a best-of-7 series with the Lightning? Can William Nylander build off the consistency that somehow he's found this season and take that into the postseason when it matters even more? That essentially is what is going to determine the fate of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not all the moves that you make for the bottom six and the complementary figures. And at the end of the day, too, Rod, I don't know if they're going to go out and address their goaltending. Are they interested in Jonathan Quick, even as a stopgap as a number 3? If Matt Murray should get hurt again once he does return, are you sold on Samsonov to be just as good as Vasilevsky during the course of a best-of-7 series? All these moves are great, but it's only adding up to success if the big four up front deliver for the Leafs and if they get the goaltending that, for the most part, they've received this season.
Take a breath. That's a lot. But I'm with, I've heard this Quick to the Leafs thing. Is there something to it, do you think?
I could see it happening just because I think these days, Rod, any team that's got designs on A, getting to the playoffs, or B, making a Stanley Cup run, serious contenders to win a championship, I think we saw as recently as last postseason with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like, we all love the spicy pork and broccoli story that Louis Domingue became, but there was a reason why he actually saw the nets in the first place against the New York Rangers, and that was because Tristan Jarry got hurt again and Casey DeSmith got hurt. You don't want to have to go 3 or 4 deep at playoff time. You really don't have a chance to win at that point, but look at Toronto's situation. Samsonov has been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been good enough to have that team up amongst the top handful of teams in the NHL pretty much all season long. But still, you wonder, can he do it at playoff time? If he can't, well, there's Matt Murray. Matt Murray is 1 game away from getting hurt again. That's what his resume says. That's what the history is with this particular 2-time Stanley Cup winning goaltender. So you could do worse than to have a guy who is going to have his number raised to the rafters once they get through all the hard feelings with him leaving the Los Angeles Kings unceremoniously, the way that the Kings jettisoned him out of Los Angeles. Once they get past that, the 32 goes to the rafters out there in Los Angeles. But Jonathan Quick is that guy in the hole for the Leafs. Behind Samsonov, behind Matt Murray, I think it makes a whole lot of sense. Whether or not it happens remains to be seen. I just don't think that Jonathan Quick is going to be long for Columbus. To steal a line from, Canadian musical greats, Trooper, he might be there for a good time, not a long time, because Columbus should have nothing to do with Jonathan Quick for the rest of the season. He might retire at season's end, and then Columbus gets holding the bag on a goaltender that's never going to play again. So whatever you can recoup if you're Jarmo Kekalainen for a guy like Jonathan Quick, I think you go out and get it. Ask for a third, don't get a third. Well, we'll settle for a fourth or a fifth. But I think Jonathan Quick is as good as gone from Columbus.
Raise a little hell. Hey, we've got about 2 minutes left, and Jeff is watching in Redmond, Oregon, and he says, I'm gathering there's a difference in U.S. hockey fans between the South and the North. WHL U.S. division rocks. Do you want to talk about that, Scott? You host a show on satellite radio. It's worldwide. Do you notice a difference between the fans down that 49th parallel or even a little south of those northern states?
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I think what we've seen, and I've been doing this on this particular network, Rod, since 2005, so we're going on 18 years now, where this has kind of picked up steam over the years and gone on from there. We've got a really great following south of the 49th, as you say. Now, you're getting the niche hardcore fans that are going to tune into us every day, every week. But we've seen, and the numbers would indicate to us, that when it comes to things like the NHL trade deadline, even things like the World Junior Hockey Championship, over the years, the interest has really, really picked up. Now, are there some challenges down there with some of the U.S. teams that we're seeing? And you kind of touched on it when you talked about the Arizona Coyotes earlier as well. You know, you wonder where they're going. Ultimately, they need to get some shovels in the ground, whether or not they have Connor Bedard or Adam Fantilli or anybody to build around. Logan Cooley's having an outstanding season at the University of Minnesota. Well, they need something to grasp onto. The Mullets a start. Long-term, though, I think in a lot of markets, you do need that stability. And for Arizona, it starts with shovels in the ground.
You like a good mullet. As do I. Of course, we both had them. All right, Scott. Always enjoy our chats. I love listening to you, as you know. Keep it up and enjoy the hockey.
You too, Rod. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Sirius XM NHL Radio, Scott Laughlin. When we come back, a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You've got to check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
You betcha. And it is overtime, proudly brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. And what a day it's been. A lot of fun talking hockey. The Flames fans are freaking out. I said it earlier with Serena. I'll say it again for those that weren't watching. But they've performed the last rites, these fans on the Calgary Flames. And 20 games is a lot of hockey left. There's a lot of points out there to be had. They can't be buying in, I hope, to what the fans are saying. And these are good guys. Kirk in Calgary. Kirk Sirota. He says it's been a disturbing trend for the longest time since the early 90s after the Gilmore blockbuster. Flames have finished around 9th, 10th, or 11th for almost 23 years since 2000. But boys, they finished first last year. Can we stop the crying and tell we need to? Jeff the Stamps fan says that perfectly describes the plight of the Flames fan. And nothing but dead ends when trying to build a new arena. Guys, it's depressing. And Swerve in Calgary writes in and says, this town sure is quiet when the Flames aren't in the playoffs. Well, you know what? March 13th, we're going to the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And I will say this. We were there last year right in the middle of the heat. Pardon the pun. And it was literally almost too much. It went end of the regular season, into the playoffs, and then in the summer with the free agency. And when I say it was almost too much, we got a lot of viewers in Calgary, Southern Alberta on Game Plus television. Tell us, Channel 924. So I got people stopping me, for sure, right in the Grey Eagle, right at the restaurant, the lounge, but gas stations, grocery stores, the same thing. And this is where it dawned on me. The fans are the same wherever you go, but it got to be too much. Man, I want to talk about this all day, every day. I just don't. Up and down. It's too hard on the ticker. Anyways, March 13th, we'll be back at Grey Eagle. And it was so much fun. What Swerve says, when they're in the thick of it, I remember when Rich Sutter walked into the Grey Eagle, who, by the way, never played for the Flames, never worked for the Flames. Rich Sutter, standing ovation as he came down the middle aisle. Clark, you got to come sometime and see it for yourself. And Rich was giving to the crowd. People turned from their VLTs. Yeah, you get him, Sutter. I don't think they knew who it was.
How about that?
Didn't care. Got swept up right in it. And then, oh, by the way, Chris Lee says Vegas is going for Jonathan Quick. And how about that?
How about
Do you think that the Los Angeles Kings, was the general manager Rob Blake, knew that when they moved Jonathan Quick to Columbus, he could end up in Vegas and the division rival? Which, by the way, I meant to get to earlier, and I can't call it up here now, but there's just so much going on with these trades. It's somewhat head-spinning. 1 second, we're talking about Jonathan Quick going to Toronto, potentially, and now they're saying Vegas for Jonathan Quick at between $5 and $6 million a year. Hang on, thank God. It's soon going to be over. And when I say that, it's not because I'm sick of it. It's because of it's too much right here. And I'm very excited to get to the hockey rink tonight and chat with my hockey boys in the press box at FLA Live Arena and see what they got to say. See what Jeff Chikrin's got to say about his kid, who thought he was going to Ottawa, which incidentally is Jeff Chikrin's hometown. It's a pretty cool story there. One of the 873 that have come out of this NHL trade deadline stuff. By the way, Connor McDavid joined elite company once again Wednesday night. The 26-year-old superstar became the 5th player in NHL history to have 5 straight multi-point games. He joins the likes of Joe Malone, Punch Broadbent, Alex McGillney, and Mario Lemieux in doing so. He had 2 goals and a helper as the the Oilers dismantled the Leafs 5-2. We talked about Chychrun to the Senators. Still don't get that one, but that makes more sense than this. The Vancouver Canucks acquired defenseman Filip Hronek from the Detroit Red Wings. European cousin of Jeremy Roenick? What do you think, Clark? Filip Hronek from the Detroit Red Wings. What? Clark doesn't think they're related. Yeah. That's what 23andMe is for. The Canucks gave up a conditional 2023 first-round pick that they got from the Islanders for Bo Horvat and their own second-round pick in this year's draft. Detroit also sending Vancouver its 2023 fourth-round pick. Well, maybe something went down there, like what went down with what we heard with the trade for Chychrun. The owner saying no more salary back. You know, they got a player, and they gave up picks for that. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, there's also a possibility Vancouver has no idea what they're doing. Have we thought about that? The Toronto Raptors tip off their 5-game road trip tonight in Washington. The Raps went 8-3 in the month of February and look to continue climbing the ranks of the NBA's Eastern Conference. Toronto currently 9th at 31-32, 3.5 games back of 6th place Brooklyn. But all we really care about is the Atlanta Hawks. Here comes the Hawks. And they're off tonight. The sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now. Last minute of play in the RP show. In theaters now, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, in the film which officially kicks off Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Superhero partners Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne return to continue their adventures as Ant-Man and the Wasp, played by Paul Rudd and Hope Van Dyne. We're pretty much out of time. I'm just going to have a quick check here of the 902 text line. Everybody getting in. Ron in Calgary says, we need to give the Flames one more year. Dude, you're the only one saying that, but I admire your patience. Nate in White City is reporting Jonathan Quick to the Vegas Golden Knights. I'll wait until it becomes Facebook official, okay? And Instagram official. Tomorrow, Football Friday, but Rich Shutter's going to be with us. Sean Lemon, too. It's going to be big fun. Thanks to JSB, Serena, Scott Laughlin, and you. Who has more fun than us?